Tonight on Toon Tactics TV, folks, we are going to discuss the past, future, and the present. So, the past, reviewing a little bit more from the previous season. The present, which is our new links to Nico Gonzalez as the man who looks like he could be replacing either Tonali or Bruno Gomes, and the future. How can Newcastle line up against Liverpool and into the season going forward? Find out all this and more, folks, on Toon Tactics TV.
Brilliant from Sham. And now Murphy can take on the shot. Fabian Schär
How are you all doing, guys? I hope you're all blessed. I hope you are well. Got a lot of things happening. We're all blowing up online on Ornstein and everything. So I was just like trying to put everything together. I actually had, as always, pre-planned a few things I wanted to talk about, reviewing the previous season a little bit more as a part one. Not looking at the financial stuff just yet, but looking at the previous squad, the previous team, and what we're doing going forward. But obviously, with the Gonzalez news, the Nico Gonzalez news straight from the Mr. Ornstein, we are going to be looking into that today. Yes, sir, Tinsel. Sorry, sir, I can't pronounce it. Can't say the full name there, but yes, we'll be kicking things off and speaking about Nico first. And we'll be talking about, there's another actually transfer, potential bid that Newcastle made that hasn't made the news that much, which is interesting, which forced me to look at potential tactical, how Newcastle could set up from a tactical point of view. That I want to talk with you guys a little bit later on about, hopefully given time, to see how Newcastle could line up, because it could go into the season in a 3-5-2 or 3-4-3, depending on the players that we get into it. So I want to be able to discuss that with you guys. But before we get into the show and everything else, I want to make sure I say hello to all the folks here. Tins Wolob, so I can't say the full name there. God bless you. Nico Gonzalez, Phil. Yes. Hopefully, we're going to be talking about that in a moment. Good to see my man James, as always. God bless you, James. James says, so it was a little bit delayed. I was taking a review from Typical City Channel. They're finding it a good thing and find that it's quite surprising. That is interesting. That is interesting. I don't know if they said anything further as to why they said it's surprising. That'd be really, really interesting. I've been thinking about it as well, and I have been thinking about. I think my initial thoughts were on. Well, let's get into it. Let's get into it, because I've got a couple some thoughts I want to share with you guys eventually about it. So, as mentioned, we are going to be discussing the news on Nico Gonzalez, as well as doing a scouting report. I'm also going to talk about the news in regards to Bergval, because on 442 today, same day as Nico Gonzalez news has come out, it is saying that Newcastle are looking to accelerate their talks in relation to Mr. Bergvall. Now, I haven't read it yet, so I'm going to be just as intrigued as you guys. And hopefully, towards the end of the show, we'll be reviewing further stuff from previous season, even though previous season seems like a light years away. But I think reflecting the previous season again will help me anyway to kind of think about how, the future, really understanding, how we're going to improve, where we stood then, where we stand now, essentially, as well. So really, really looking forward to that. Okay, so let's bring it up. Let's kick things off with Mr. Ornstein. So just say my middle name, Robert. Big up to you, Robert. I'll keep it as that. Also, welcome. I think this is Lee McFarlane. Welcome to the show. God bless you. I'll try to remember that, Robert. I'll try to remember that. Nice one. All right. So let's bring up our the Ornstein stuff. Let me know what was you guys' initial reactions. Now, I have to say, my initial reactions were very, very, very happy. Even though I should be more than experienced enough in terms of content creating, to not just react. Well, you're meant to do it, but I don't like to do it. Just react on the first thing that you see. And even though they also say that knowing as a Newcastle fan, we have to almost like, what's the word I'm looking for? We almost have to what's the word I'm looking for? We almost have to restrain, keep back, conserve, I think is our initial reactions, because we've had so many things happen with the moves that we've wanted to make. But I threw all of that out the window and said, and I thought, let me just react to it anyway. I'll show you guys my reaction before I go to the thing. On what I posted. So I posted the famous, on the news from David Ornstein, the famous scene from, I can't remember if it was Michael Jordan's first trophy, NBA trophy. I used to pray for times like this. Typically, I should reserve that for when not just Nico Gonzalez, but any player is actually holding up the shirt and has signed the contract. But it is what it is. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. You live with what you live with. All right, but let's get into it, because even obviously once Mr. David Ornstein has posted something, obviously every other journalist also comes along for the ride for that. So I want to look at the language. Apologies there. I'm drinking water there. Or juice, whatever it is. I want to focus on the language, and I want to focus on who it was from, what was said, why it was said, who likely leaked it, what was the situation, before we even get into all of this. Obviously, it's Mr. David Ornstein, highly regarded, probably one of the premier #1 transfer journals, people would say, right? I wouldn't say he doesn't have as strong links with Newcastle as he would have with Arsenal, for instance, right? I think with Arsenal, he's like this, to the point where he's they're telling people that there was no add-on fees onto that 75 million from Bruno, but we'll move on from that. So why it's important is because in terms of who the information has come from, I don't believe that initially that the initial people who leaked this information to David, to Mr. Ornstein, were Newcastle. But not only, one of the reason being that, like I said, he's not a usual source, but the biggest reason is that sending information like this to the #1 transfer journal, and you being the club, i.e. Newcastle, is trying to buy the player, sending this flare up. So you're letting every other club know, literally in the world, hey, Nico González is available. We are trying to buy him. Makes no sense for Newcastle United whatsoever. So to me, obviously, that points to, it could be the player himself and people from his camp. But as we read this, I don't think it is from the player himself and his camp. I do believe it's from Man City. And what's the benefit from Man City? Well, the benefit would be, obviously, I'm assuming, and we're going to get into this in a moment, that obviously prices are being discussed. And what I suspect, and we've talked about Ornstein before, I suspect how Ornstein likes to share his information is, typically a deal can be a little bit further ahead. So I suspect that the deal's a little bit further ahead. I'm not saying necessarily, fees agreed, all this other stuff. I don't know. But I think it's a little bit ahead of what this actually says. And why Ornstein likes to report it on the little bit when we're a little bit further behind where a deal is. Obviously, he gets to write more stories about it. There's no point in him just sending out one post explaining the whole deal, and that's it. Everything else after that becomes regurgitated. It also adds a little bit of caution on his part. So where it's written and where the deal is at the moment, he could, if it doesn't happen, his very high success rate doesn't take a hit, right? He's still very much can say, well, they were just in discussions. There wasn't anything further from that, which makes total sense. So, like I said, the benefit is for Man City. I think they are likely to be pushing for what do you call it, an auction, to try and get other clubs to compete for his signature, so they can obviously drive up the fee. I suspect that what that probably indicates is that Newcastle are probably not too far from agreeing a fee with Man City. So that's just my initial thoughts I want to be able to share with you guys before reading this. So this is the post from David Ornstein, written today, literally at 6:05 p.m. Exclusive. Newcastle United in talks with Manchester City over potential deal to sign Nico González. So the first thing you can gather from that is club to club talks have started. Club to club talks have started. Newcastle are directly speaking with Man City. Now, as we've learned and we have seen throughout this transfer window, is that what typically happens is that, or the pattern for most clubs is that they speak to the player first, rather than speaking to the club, even though it's illegal to do that. It's called tapping up. Now, there's nothing to suggest from what Paulson's about to write that Newcastle have done any tapping up. And how clubs typically bypass this is by speaking through another agent, speaking through an intermediary that people in the industry, being the football industry, widely recognizes this person is definitely connected to said club, and whatever this person says is likely what the said club is doing. So why do I mention this? For me, it's likely that Newcastle have gone down that particular avenue and spoken to intermediaries. I haven't seen who his agents are. If anybody has got on the thing, who his agents are, that'd be very interesting. I wonder if it's CAA, for instance. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's at least a conversation from Newcastle saying, "Hey, we would be interested in coming in for you if we were to speak to Manchester City about a fee for you and getting you to Newcastle. Would you be interested?" And they would have received some sort of feedback from the players' camp to say, you know what? Yeah, I would be interested. Interested enough where Newcastle would be convinced enough to pursue this with Manchester City themselves. The other thing, obviously, around this is that Man City have just purchased Mr. Bouadidi, the 18-year-old prodigy from Morocco, from Morocco. He plays for Morocco, but he's a national team, but his club team is Lille. They're also in a very, very highly publicized major transfer situation in relation to Enzo Fernandez. And obviously, they've just sold Rodri as well. So there's a lot going on. And obviously, they've just made a very, very high, expensive purchase of Elliot Anderson. So Rodri out, Bernardo out. Now it's looking like, so they've already got Bouadidi in, Elliot Anderson in, and it's looking like they're shaping up or at least positioning themselves to say Nico González out and Mr. Enzo Fernandez in. So there's a lot of things, when they say the domino effect is beginning to click. Hence why, Manchester City, I think, are open to selling Mr. González. So Ornstein goes on to say, move for Manchester City midfielder not yet advanced. Not yet advanced. What does that mean? In terms of, I would assume maybe a fee hasn't just been locked down yet, right? But however, Newcastle United working to strengthen, are working to strengthen, and 24-year-old among various options, exploratory amongst. We're going to get into this, and because of very this in this sentence, there's a lot going on in this sentence. How he's worded it, and you have to be very careful how you, because this second part is where I think Ornstein went to Newcastle to double check some stuff. So Newcastle United, so move for Manchester midfielder, not yet advanced, right? So fee hasn't been agreed. That's how I take it. But Newcastle are working to strengthen. So we need to improve. We need to strengthen our midfield area. That's highly publicized, right? And so Newcastle do need the midfielder. And, or I would say, however, and this is the part where Newcastle trying to say is 24-year-old among various, we've got other options, what Newcastle saying, among various options, amongst other various options. And Newcastle saying, hey, we've got other options. That's what I'm saying. I don't believe Newcastle leaked this to David Ornstein. Man City linked this to David Ornstein to encourage other clubs to also throw in their hats in and make a bid so that they can drive the price up. I think David Ornstein obviously followed this story up with Newcastle to see if it's true. Newcastle have little option. They have options, but they have limited options. They don't want to say, no, it's not true, because obviously if word gets back to the player in his camp, that could put seeds of doubt into their minds about how serious Newcastle United are about them. So Newcastle aren't denying that it's true, but they're also saying, but we have other options, right? Now, there's different reasons why they're saying this. One is the simple fact is they do have other options. We're going to talk about Mr. Bergvall in a moment. Two is what they said at the start of the sentence, which is the deal is not advanced. They haven't agreed a fee, right? And it's still in the unknown, no man's land stage where we've had with so many other players behind prior, Johan Manzambi, Munoz, and all these others. So Newcastle are being careful and saying, listen, as he goes on to say, among various options, exploratory dialogue taking place over the Athletic, right? So there's is there more to this? Okay, so he did write more to it. So let's get into it, right? So there's exploratory talks that is happening, right? So what Newcastle are saying is the deal is not advanced. There is other options. We'll see what happens. Whereas Man City are saying, hey, Newcastle want Mr. Gonzalez, and we're not saying no. Is anybody willing to also come in for him? So David Ornstein goes into further details. Says Newcastle United, I'm going to go to the chats in a moment, because Newcastle United are in talks to sign Man City midfielder Nico González. The North East club are seeking a midfield reinforcements this summer after the departure of Sajid Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes to Arsenal. In talks over a deal for Nico are among the number of exploratory conversations taking place. So that's the big thing there for Newcastle. Nico is just one of the players that we're talking to, right? But it being Ornstein that Man City have leaked this to, it gives Newcastle, in the public eye, public image, very limited room to kind of how do I say it, to move, to deny, or even not even to just say it's not happening, right? They're trying to put the brakes on it in terms of, hey, this is just exploratory dialogue, but it's Ornstein. And it's already talked about. Every other journalist, Ben Jacobs, all these other guys, even transfer, everyone is already there, right? So they can't stop this particular horse from going. So he goes on to say about what Nico has done. What Newcastle have done. It talks about Nico being a 4-month 21. We're going to talk about that as well. He is a product of La Masia as well. What Nico could offer Newcastle. Signed in the aftermath of Rodri's ACL injury, Nico González never quite established himself in City. Started midfield, not meeting Pep Guardiola's exact demands is no mark of shame though, and Newcastle hope to unlock him. Yeah, I think all of that is fluff. We're going to get into it. Right. So let me just summarize essentially. Newcastle, I think, have approached Nico González's camp. They've indicated some positivity around, yes, if you do go to our club, if you do speak to Man City, if you guys do speak to Man City, we would be positive to that. We would accept things, right? So Newcastle obviously have spoken to Man City, are in now club to club talks with Man City. Man City have gone to Ornstein and said, "Hey, Newcastle United want him," as a way of trying to get other people involved. Other clubs involved, which is fine. I expect Newcastle to do the same thing for their stars. I think Ornstein went to Newcastle to verify the story. Newcastle didn't put quite cold water on it, but what they're saying is, and I've been trying to be honest, and they've got little maneuverability, saying, yes, we are interested in Nico, but this is exploratory talks. We're just figuring out the prices, the wages, all of this stuff. And he's just one of a number of options. We're basically window shopping. It's hard though for Newcastle to say that, because it's hard for Newcastle to maintain that cover story because of the caliber of the player they're looking at, which is very, very high, the caliber of the team they're talking to, Man City, one of the best teams in the Premier League and in the world right now, and the caliber of the journalist who has obviously now delivered the story, number one journalist in David Ornstein. So I think it's more than likely that Mr. Gonzalez is probably very, very high up in Newcastle priority, probably number one. I can't think if there's a higher midfielder of a higher caliber that is available right now that Newcastle could be. I can't think of one at the moment, right? That is of higher quality. We're going to talk about Bergval, but he's 20, he's 20, 19, 20 years old. He's not Gonzalez, right? So I would say that he definitely is. Mr. Gonzalez is definitely number one priority. We're going to talk a little bit later about the scouting report on him and see where he could fit into Newcastle's plans. But I'm keen to hear what you guys think of the story. Not just is it going to happen, but how it's all come out. What's your feelings on it? Would you want Gonzalez? I'm really, really want to hear your thoughts. James says, I tell you what, I was not. Oh, folks, by the way, thank you again for continuing to liking, sharing, and subscribing. You're absolutely amazing. James says, I tell you what, I was not looking at my phone until I was in my town centre, and I randomly saw on Facebook. It was a shock because I haven't seen anything come at that point. Yeah, it was a shock for me too. Honestly, it was a shock for me too. Absolutely. Lee McFarlane says, excited. Seems we might actually be working to wipe away the sour narrative out there. Yeah. So that's exactly how I feel as well. There's a lot of work to do. But I don't think anybody. But it would be amazing if it were to happen. Lee McFarlane says that was a pretty early hydration break. It was, but I've been eating and talking before I came on the show, so I wanted to be. I'm having to catch up. Low Fat Mo says Nico G worth 55 million is a fair. I think that's the price that City bought him for. So City bought him for about, let me just double check here. City bought him for 55, 60 million. City, what did City buy him for? Yeah, they bought him for 52 million pounds. So if they bought him for 52 million pounds, with what players have been sold for now, I think Newcastle could be looking at anything between 70 and 80. I think Newcastle probably offered around 70. And City want to try and push this to get it to 80, 90 if they could, depending on how many more clubs go in for him. GR First. Is that his agency? Ali. Is that his agency? Okay, James says, just Tifus is the agency, a Portugal base. Interesting. Okay, I haven't heard that. Jorge Mendes, is he the one that's involved? If he is, that's major. That's major. Same agent as Ruben Diaz, Mateus Nunes, Valentin Barker, and Antonio Silva, all part of the same agency. Okay, so it doesn't sound like they're too connected to us. So it'll be interesting to see how, communication and everything else goes that way. Life of follow, good to see. God bless you. He said, "Oh, sorry, I missed that. Sorry, Umar Khan. Sorry, I missed you." Umar Khan says, "Hi, Nicolas Gonzalez is better than Bruno Guimaraes. He's number 6 and 8 and can play in. Excuse me. He's better than Bruno Guimaraes. He is number 6 and can play in an 8." Okay, well, we're going to do a scouting report. Hold on to that thought. Let me know. If let's see if that is what we think. Do people agree with that? Life of Follow says, developed in Barcelona's La Masia Academy, Gonzalez boasts incredible composure under pressure. He maintains a staggering 92% passing completion rate in the Premier League, making him an ideal anchor, which is exactly what Newcastle United are looking for. Exactly. Thanks for sharing that, Life of Follow. James says, I guess we are deciding to do at least one Premier League this season, and I wouldn't mind this one. I guess we are trying to do at least one Premier League this season. Let me know what you mean by that, James. Clarify that for me. Okay. I was going to do a scouting report and come back to Bergval, or do Bergval and then come back to this. Let me do the scouting report on Gonzalez because we are talking about him. And then you folks remind me to go back to Bergval. So let's do the scouting report on Bergval. Let's at least do one more signing. Okay. Thanks for that, James. Let's see what Mr. Gonzalez is all about, and then we'll go to and see how he could potentially suit our system. Ooh. All right. Okay. So, excuse me, my name's in the way there. Nico González Iglesias. He's 24 years old. He'll turn 25 in January the 3rd. He's originally from Spain. He's played for Spain's youth and senior international. He's 6'2". So he's a big man. He is a big man, which is exactly what you want in your midfield. In terms of kind of having that physical presence. He's 86 kg. He's a big man. That's a unit. 86 kg. Plays as mentioned, as others have mentioned, plays a central midfielder in 8 and is a defensive midfielder at 6. Obviously playing for City after transferring from Porto. Started at La Masia as a youth all the way up to 2022. From 2022 to 23, he went to a Valencia on loan before then getting a permanent move to FC Porto, where he played for 2 years as a midfielder. Obviously, did so with distinction, as this earned him his move to Man City, where he is a present-day midfielder. Hopefully, the next part of that will be Newcastle United player. See his heat map there. Now, obviously, he's playing for this from his heat map from the season with City. Playing with City, obviously, you spend a lot more time in the opposition half than you do in your own half. But you can see typically he's taking up these central areas. Speaking of the midfield anchor, very limited time in the opposition box, more time in his own. He obviously is involved in the build-up play as well as in the pressing, counter pressing. You imagine just beyond the halfway line in the opposition half. That's just there. Injury record, I think, is pretty good for a 25-year-old. There's nothing overly serious. You've got knocks, you've got a couple breaks here and there in terms of ankle, broken toe, and a metatarsal fracture. This to me screams, impact injury, which is the typical kind of stuff that happens in the game itself. There isn't something that there isn't like a reoccurring injury, for instance, that that kind of continuously happens on and off the pitch, right? This is all kind of impact injuries that happen on the pitch, which is fine. There isn't the longest he's been out is 12 games or 60 days for Valencia. That's the metatarsal fracture, which is pretty typical. Otherwise, 1 game here, 4 games here through a knock or whatever. But otherwise, good and in very good, healthy order, in my opinion. Now, I've taken the following scouting reports from Total Football Analysis, The Athletic, and the Premier League Technical Analysis, and used them to help build a picture, a scouting report on Mr. Gonzalez. And we're going to go through the timeline itself. So the first part is the phase, career, and tactical evaluation. So the evolution of the La Masia technical gem, phase 1, the La Masia and Barcelona breakthrough. So this came from total. This first part came from Total Football Analysis and the Premier League News. So analysis: developing through the FC Barcelona's famed La Masia Academy, Gonzalez stood out playing above his age group due to his exceptional spatial awareness, which is really important for us. Press resistance and 96% pass accuracy. Handed his senior debut under Xavi. A lot of players were like Lamar too. Yeah, Lamine Lamar. Under Xavi as a teenager, frequently coming on for Sergio Busquets, which gives you an idea of how they viewed him. They viewed Mr. Gonzalez coming on there. The fact that he's been coming on for Sergio Busquets. He was initially hyped as Busquets' heir. However, his natural physical drive and desire to crash the box revealed a player far more dynamic than a pure single pivot register. So yes, they've got him trying to be Sergio Busquets, but he's trying to be something else essentially. But obviously La Masia gives him a really good high-level technical grounding. Phase 2, the Porto Polish and dual threat evolution. The sources of the Premier League News and Opta Analysis. So following the loan spell at Valencia and the permanent €8.5 million move to FC Porto, Gonzalez blossomed into a complete box-to-box powerhouse, which is what he wanted to be. During an otherwise turbulent campaign for Porto, he emerged as their primary ball winner and clutch scorer, leading the squad in tackles 34, in possession regain 73, and aerial duels contested. So this guy specializes in winning back. He's all action. He's specialized in winning back possession, holding it and keeping it ticking. His trademark late runs into the penalty box, such as the UEFA Europa League winner against Maccabi Tel Aviv, confirmed his evolution into a dangerous goal-scoring 8. So here's that for some dynamism for there. Into a goal-scoring 8. I really like the fact that he's that good at, so strong, so powerful, can win headers, can win, aerial duels, ground duels. He's all action. He has it all in his locker. Moving on, the City move and the Rodri partnership. This is from Total Football Analysis and The Athletic. Transferring to Manchester City in a deal worth a reported £50 million or 60 million euros, Pep Guardiola secured Gonzalez as a multi-functional solution for City's midfield. Capable of operating as a deep lying 6, which I think Newcastle are asking to do, 6 anchor, or playing alongside Rodri as a left-leaning 8. His combination of physical presence, he's 6'2", 86 kg, a big guy, and refined possession recycling gave City the exact hybrid profile required to handle high-tempo English transitions. This is what I think Lewis Miley can develop into. I think Lewis Miley can develop into this guy. He has the physicality as well as the technical ability in terms of what he does with the ball itself. So he can win it aerially, he can win it on the ground, and he's willing to fight for it. And when he does get it, he knows exactly what to do with the ball. Controller, tempo setter, all these type of things. Key scouting attributes. So press resistant ball retention. He features on 88.6% career pass completion rate. He uses shoulder checks, open hips, and tight body manipulation to absorb heavy pressure and recycle possession effortlessly. So it's very hard to get off the ball off him, if at all. Box crashing late runs. Unlike traditional sixes, he possesses an aggressive forward instinct, making late diagonal runs from deep central zones to convert crosses or loose balls inside the box. So he'll get you goals too. Aggressive ground and aerial dueling, relishes physical contact and 50-50 tackles, which will do really nicely for Newcastle, especially with your high pressing team. He ranks highly for ground recoveries and aerial duels contested, bringing genuine physical skill to central midfield. Tactical versatility, 6 and 8, as we talked about. I really suspect that he prefers to play as an 8, the way they're describing him, but we'll see. Comfortable operating as a single pivot. He can do, with all that he has, being able to cover ground, win duels, very good in control, ball, in terms of passing, dictating the play, being pressed with his assistant. He can play as a single pivot, so he can be the 6, and we can have 2 dynamic 8s. In a 4-3-3, a deep build-up dropper in a 5-2 phase, as we talked about, or an advanced interior driver in a double pivot setup. So he'll drive up, flank, the fullbacks will go out wide, putting him in a position where he can get into the half spaces, create, score, late runs, these type of things. So literally, he can do it. I say he can do it all, but he's all action. Put it this way, he's very much all action. So pros and cons, excuse me. So the pros are elite pass. We talked about that. High ball recovery volume, ranks top among peers in tackles won, regains, and ground duels. Late box crash and physical technical hybrid. A rare mix of 1.88 meters power with refined short space composure. The weaknesses: occasional over dribbling. Can take one touch too many under tight central pressures, which I wonder if that's more from his earlier days than it is now. But if it is now, that's something that would have annoyed Guardiola. Over aggression risks. Aggressive lunges can occasionally leave him exposed out of position. Pace against counter-attacks, can struggle to turn and recover when isolated against elite rapid wingers. So he has to be careful. But most people have to be like that. Not a pure Busquets regista. He prefers dynamic forward driving over pure positional patience. You have to watch out. He's not here to. That's why he didn't so much. I think Guardiola assumed he can make him this Busquets type of fixed position type of guy, and this guy is more like a Premier League midfielder. All action, wants to be dynamic, wants to move, wants to gain territory, wants to do this in terms of kind of pushing the team forward. And Guardiola just didn't want that, essentially. I think we do, though. I think we do. So the verdict. Nico González is an exceptionally complete hybrid midfielder who flawlessly bridges La Masia's technical passing excellence with modern box-to-box dominance. While he is not a direct like-for-like clone of a deep positional register, his ability to protect the back line, win higher volume duels, and crash the penalty box area makes him a dream tactical weapon for Pep's at the time, Guardiola's fluid Man City system. So if Jaissle wanted to use him as an anchor, he would have to be very conscious of the fact that Mr. Gonzalez isn't looking to be fixed in that position. He wants to be out there. He wants to be engaging with the play, and that could be something that Jaissle is. What's the word I'm looking for? Planning for. Is taken into consideration for sure in terms of planning for Mr. Gonzalez. So let me know what you guys think. before we go into the old Dennis Suarez compilations, I've been very, very keen. I really like the player. Physically, technically, everything that he can do. His profile as a hybrid, as in a 6 and 8. I do wish a little bit that he'll be a bit more of a 6, because I think that would really, really serve our system really, really well. But at the same time, I'm not over complaining. I think he's got got a lot more going for him than he has against him. James says, "I'm fine that there's no tendon injuries." Yeah, me too. Me too. James says, was quite destroyed by Tamworth though. 5-3 girl from Trevor Sanusi and Vetch. Okay, sorry, talking to someone else, I think. By the way, National League car. Who sounds better? Ione. Great question. Who sounds better? Nico Belieber. I don't know if I've done a scouting report on Belieber to be able to say. You would have. I think Gonzalez is in better form. I think I probably would go for Gonzalez over Belieber at this stage. But I feel a bit unfair because I haven't really done like a report on Belieber to be able to have a fixed mind on that. But just kind of my initial reaction, I think Gonzalez does. How about you, Lanier? Let me know. James says Lanier Belieber it's way more of attacking 10 midfielder. Okay, interesting. So let's have a look at the compilations and see what you guys think. Either way, it sounds exciting. I think Gonzalez would be an incredible addition to our team. All right, somebody has got compilations for him on the old from a Newcastle thing on the old thingy on the old YouTube. Let me get that up. Make sure I share it with you guys. Oh, okay. Can you guys see that? Yeah, you can. All right, so Nico Gonzalez, 6'8", 6'2", 86 kg, hybrid, press resistant, can be a ball control. That's with his right foot. Goodness gracious me, that was thunderous. I think that was in the final. Was that in the final of the FA Cup as well? Yeah, so he's got that in his locker, and you can see why he's not that. He doesn't want to just be stuck in a 6, you know. Again, involved in the bigger build-up play, intercepting the ball. He wants to be involved right up there, laying off those type of passes. See in the 14, and again involved in the build-up play, press resistant, gets the ball up there. He is really all action. What a finish! That's an incredible finish. That is an incredible finish. Lovely goal there. I think if you were just obviously these are just compilations. I think I can again press resistant, bring it out of play because he can. I think he'll be more of a. It's so difficult. I'm thinking he doesn't. He'll really be a hybrid for us. It'll be interesting to see though if we just say to him, you can play 6 and 8. You know, transitions, turnovers can happen really, really quick, and that could leave. You saw in that situation, we would have to be really, really smart. Again, he's got that ability to do those type of diagonals and switch to play. My only concern is obviously on the if we get caught in the turnovers, does he have enough thought and discipline and then the defensive mindset to get back and protect the back line? So that'll be interesting. And what will be Janssel's plan for that? Does he get one of the fullbacks to invert? How would it work? Again, you can see it. Real good technical ability to drive forward, be a menace, get past players. You know, sometimes a little bit too much dribbling for Guardiola, right? But he's got that in him. Can strike a ball for sure. You can see it there as well. Brilliant. A lot of compilations against us, which is annoying. There you have it there, setting off attacks with his diagonals as well. Lovely ball in again. Again, looks up. And that's what he wants to be able to do, to set off, kind of to control the games this way. Jeez, there's a whole heap of stuff here against Newcastle. But he enjoys being the anchor. He enjoys bringing the ball out. He wants to be very much involved. Again, lovely turn. For a big man, he's a massive guy. 6'2". Brilliant. Again, dribbles. Is he going to release it? I don't know. Again, driving with him. That's to Bernardo. Brilliant. So let me know what you guys think. I really like the player. I'll be very, very keen to get your thoughts. We're going to talk about Bergvall in a minute, and I'm going to do a tactical kind of think with you guys, because is it an ideal? Is it too much? Am I dreaming too much that we could get Gonzalez and Bergvall? Would that be asking too much? You let me know, but let me know what you guys are saying. So just double checking if there's any more news on this. And do you think potentially that this this still could be a little bit more advanced than what people are saying it is? Sorry, just double checking if there's any news. Okay, sorry. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Lionel says, would you give him the captaincy? To who? To Nico González? No, I think Byrne is going to be the captain. Byrne's been named the captain, and Joe Linton vice captain. Lionel says, I was thinking both would be great. So I would love Bergval and Gonzalez. That would make our day. Lionel says, I think Miley can play that holding role. We really need a creative 10 badly. I agree we need number 10. Are you saying, Lionel, let me know, are you saying that you think Gonzalez could be that 10? Or are you just kind of putting it out there saying, yes, we can have both Miley and Gonzalez in that 6 and 8 role, but we need a 10? Maybe Bergval could be that 10. Now, when I first put that thought to Ash Mack from Spurs Kings, he didn't think Bergval could play as a 10, but I was watching a Spurs Kings show today, and his fellow was watching Ash. Now, he didn't say this, but a fellow panelist said that Bergval could play in the 10, and Ash was just surprised that people are thinking this way. But I don't see there's a potential that could happen. There's honestly a potential that could happen. James says, I think if anyone's thinking that we're gonna get a striker this summer, it's a bit mad. We may get one on loan, potentially. Da, 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 da. Da, da, da. Linus is a good 10 with unlock Voltamada and Wissa. I'd like a right winger and 1-2 if greedy. Bergvall, Belieber, and Nico. Jeez, that would be, when you've had too much sugar and your teeth feel like they're rotting away. That's what it would feel like. James says, I think you will look someone else. I think you will look like someone else, Bergvall. Under 10, says Lionel. Lionel says Bergvall might be a better as a 10, like the way he controls the ball. He could. It wasn't his primary position. It would take some time to learn for him, as he's more of a connector, 8. But it's an interesting thought, honestly. I haven't written it off. I think it's definitely an interesting thought. Okay, so whilst we're speaking of Bergvall, let's talk about Bergvall and this news on Bergvall. And then we'll go to the tactical board, and I'll kind of because I think it's interesting that is it Gonzalez or Bergvall? How is it working out? That's the interesting part, isn't it? I'd be so curious to see if Newcastle are trying to get a boat. It would be super expensive, but I think we can afford it. Okay, so let me see what 442 are saying. Now, I know 442 as a podcast are really good, especially when Adam Cleary was there, but I don't know much about them as like um as a like, are they like a transfer? Are they, how are they with transfers? Are they dependable? Are they reliable or credible is the word I'm looking for. Are they credible? You guys let me know. Okay, so this is by Joe Donahue. Who I think it is known. Newcastle United pursuit of Tottenham, and he says Newcastle United's pursuit of Tottenham Hotspur midfielder Lucas Bergvall is expected to accelerate this week. Now we know that there's a date, 45 days from the purchase of Tonali is what everybody's counting on to avoid the whole swap deal stuff, right? Which I think, again, just more rules for no reason, really. If the whole idea behind financial rules is to ensure that clubs don't get bankrupt, fine. But if you can already, if you can already see Premier League that the clubs are working to not go bankrupt and are making, are making deals, are trying to kind of find solutions to not go bankrupt and not breach the current rules. Why are you making more rules on top of that? That's the kind of stuff that just this kind of over police and over regulating something, you can cause it to die. Is kind of my initial thoughts about it. But anyway, Newcastle United's pursuit of Tottenham's midfielder Lucas Bergvall is expected to accelerate this week. Um, the pieces are beginning to fall into place for Newcastle to land one of their long-term summer transfer targets before the September the 1st deadline, says Mr. Donahue. Earlier in the window, highly rated Swedish international Bergvall emerged as one of Newcastle's midfield targets after having slipped down the pecking order in North London. Despite holding interest throughout the summer, the Magpies' approach to formalising the transfer has left supporters asking what the delay could be. So let's see, what could the delay be? Lucas Bergvall to Newcastle United delay revealed. And by the way, it also says that Roberto De Zerbi has used Bergvall in each of Spurs' 3 preseason friendlies so far this season. So he has been used, been kept him warm. A potential reason for Newcastle's hesitation could be due to UEFA legislation termed as the 45-day rule, which we just talked about. So this is his speculating. This is his opinion rather than what he said is fact. On July the 6th, Sandro Tonali joined Tottenham in a reported £92.5 million deal. Thank you very much, Tottenham. Under the newly enforced regulations, if two clubs buy and sell from one another within 45-day window, the transactions are officially classed as swap deal for accounting purposes, which is so it's all about just trying to stop swap deals. But if the clubs don't go bankrupt, like, what's the problem anyway? So the rule was introduced by the Premier League's financial regulators to close an accounting loophole created by reciprocal transfer arrangements designed to artificially inflate a club's short-term profits in order to comply with profitability and sustainability rules. So if they're trying to comply, what's the problem? But thanks, I think this is due to Chelsea and Aston Villa. Newcastle fans will recall one major example of this reciprocal arrangement 2 summers ago, when on one of the June 30th account deadline 2024, Newcastle and Nottingham Forest avoided breaching PSR limits by agreeing 2 technically separate transactions. Right, but we avoided breaching the PSR limit. So what's the problem? It's crazy. Newcastle Sword Academy graduate, yeah, we know about that. Both clubs needed PSR, yeah, we know about that. Fast forward to this summer, and had Newcastle signed Bergvall in the 45-day period following Tonali's move, they would have been required to record only the net difference of the 2 transfers, effectively wiping out the accounting benefit of Tonali's big money departure, which is the spirit of what the Lord they're trying to give, which is don't go broke. The 45-day period in question ends in August the 30th, so that's what they're expecting. He says from 26-27 season onwards, the existing CR, the incoming okay. I'm trying to figure out where this is going. Incoming registration limits tells you, yeah. A class per pure profit, okay. Okay, so he hasn't really given anything. He's just given his opinion on what he thinks is going to happen. But everybody's waiting for August the 20th. So it doesn't sound like he received any news about this. So not too much to add from his perspective. A lot of people actually are suspecting that this was happening with Bergvall. I'm open to it. He was, Forest were interested in him, then they backed away. Um, uh, there's a couple of other clubs, and we haven't heard of anything from them since. There's some whispers that Man United could be interested in him, but nothing as of yet. We're 2 days away from kind of seeing where that's going to go. So let me see what you guys are saying in the chat, because I want to see how this could all work out tactically on this board. Lioness says, I feel that Bergvall deal is just sitting in the background. Weird how Musa links went radio silent as well. Yeah, I'm beginning to suspect that Musa was never really that high in priority as said before. And I do wonder if that was more agent talk. I do wonder if that was more agent talk than anything. But it's an interesting one. Just trying to get the thingy bobs, the tactical board out. But the next video should be super interesting. Do you guys think that Bergval and Gonzalez are two different type of players, midfielders? Because obviously Newcastle aren't going to buy two of the same midfielders, right? They're going to need. I think they're looking for someone that they both can anchor the midfield in different ways. They can both play out from the phases, from the first phase. What I think, though, Gonzalez does better, though, is he has the better ability to win the ball. Even though Bergvall is quite good aerially as well, but I think Gonzalez is much better. So he'll probably have a little bit more responsibility as a six. I can just see Bergvall being used more and more as a 8-10 for us. If we can't find the 10 that we want, I can see that more and more. But you guys let me know what your thoughts are. Let me just choose any team. I'm going to choose an opposition team. Do I want a team just yet? Not yet. Okay, so let's have Newcastle here. I want to start from this side though. I'm a bit funny like that. By the way, guys, I traveled up north to Newcastle on a Saturday, Sunday. I was meant to give a review of the games that I watched between Strasbourg and Leverkusen. I didn't film it. Last year I filmed it. This year I didn't film it. But I had a great time up north. Well, I always do. Always have a great time up north with the guys there. So let me see this. Willock was here. Osola. Torre. So then let me get this right. Willock, Murphy. Okay. And let me know how you guys would want to line up for the Liverpool game. James says, I would still say Bergval, the wrong type of player. He isn't a proper 10. We need to be looking for a proper 10 because I think randomly a Nico Gonzalez option is more realistic. Yeah, but what? Let me know, James. What would you say if we couldn't get a proper 10 at this time, and Bergvall is available, and he has some attributes that can possibly work as a 10? Would you be happy to try and convert him into a 10, or do you think um, that would be like a waste of time type of thing? Well, not a waste of time, but that wouldn't be the best option, essentially. Okay, so I'm going to try and bring out the best team I can. I have to create one for who? For Mr. Gonzalez. I'm going to use Bergvall as well in this. Can you guys see this? So you can. Brilliant. Okay. Let me just get this. I have to create a couple custom ones. Come off. How did I do this last time? Is it on the bench? No. Match animation. Pen. How did I create it last time? This happens when you don't use it enough. Oh, that's why. Add an away player, add a home player. Select a home first. Here. No, come on. Now I want to add a player. Where are we going to add a player from? How did I do it last time? Jesus. Full screen, clear set, stock. So I want to use Bergvall, I want to use Gonzalez, and I want to use potentially tap sober a little bit later because according to Fustaten, and I'll show you guys this in a minute, Newcastle are also interested in him. Why are you not letting me add? Where's the add option? What's this more? Custom players. Here we go. Square, sash, check, stripes. Where is it? Pitch, team orders, match data, animation, team orders, customize players, home, but it's customized players. Oh, this is, how did I do it last time? I wanted to add a player. So what did I do? Oh, I did something. Animation creator, bench. We will get there. We will get there. Where is it? So Tap Sober was also reported in Fußdaten newspaper, German newspaper, and Newcastle were said to be making an offer like between 35, 40 million for it. He's 27, 28 years old. He actually played against us in the preseason game. Obviously, he played for Leverkusen. The thing is, we're always linked to him. We're regularly linked to him. Excuse me. Come on, what's going on? And so he plays on the right side mainly. Gee, what was that? I was playing on the right side mainly. Where is it? In terms of like a right-sided defender, and the fact that we've already bought Dedic, it caused me to think, well, why are we getting the right-sided defender? Forgot Dedic, Livramento, Chow on that side, Shah on that side. But there's a potential that Newcastle start to play with a 3-5-2. in which case you probably will have him and or Botman as an anchor, for instance. So in the middle of that back two of the back three, with him and Chow on either side, something along those lines. So it's an interesting one. Where is it? That Newcastle can play that way. Why can I not find the place where I can create another, add a home player? Yes. Select a home team first. Newcastle. So why aren't you letting me do it? We'll get there. Come on. Why are you not letting me do it? Add a squad from list, home team. Select a home team. Why are you not letting me do it? Is it like that? Is that what it means? Why is it not letting me add the player? That's so annoying. Select a home team. Oh, is that what it means? Is that what they mean? Like I have to select like a random team. Okay, yeah, got it finally. All right, so I'm gonna use Nico Gonzalez. He's obviously in the number 14. I'm gonna take the other stuff off in a minute as well. Gonzalez in the 14. Number 14, add player. So we've got him here with us. Then I'm gonna add another home player, Bergval. I'll have him as an 8 for now. Add player. And I'm gonna use Tapsoba. I'm not gonna do it straight away. I'm gonna wait a little bit on Tapsoba because that's a different situation entirely. I can't remember what number he is. I think he's 2. Is he 2? You guys let me know. So I'll put him here. I'll take these guys off. No, not the whole thing. Let me do this. So I want to get you guys' thoughts on something. There's a number of what would be Newcastle's best team first of all before we start making some changes? Murphy on the right side, Burn on the left, Shaw on the right, Bamba. I thought Bamba had a decent tournament as well. Don't know what you guys' thoughts about. I'm going to read the chat in a moment as well. You know, the way some people online, and online is online, isn't it? But the way some people online have been criticizing some of our youngsters, I thought has been deplorable. Has been really, really bad in my view. And someone made the comment of, you know, you wonder why Eddie Howe was protecting the youngsters, and it's because of the fans that from on some of the online fans that we have. I hope most of these are bots or Sunderland fans trolling. I really, really, really hope they're not actual Toon fans, because that would be insane. That would really, really be insane. Lornaire says, I have basketball background, so I'm not as knowledgeable as you guys. So how crazy does it sound to put Sturt at number 10? I think Sturt is a number 6 because of his ability to bring the ball out and anchor and to kind of break lines that way. The reason why he probably wouldn't work as a number 10 in the Premier League, in my view, is that he hasn't quite got the physicality. If you can imagine, you have to receive the ball back with your back to the goal. So similar to basketball, when you you see the basketball players with their back from the net, they're getting pushed, with the defender behind them before they can spin off and make them fade away shots or whatever they're trying to do. You need a number 10 who's strong. You need number 10 in football to be strong enough to be able to have his back to goal, collect the ball, be good with in those final third areas, with his passing, dribbling, ball carrying, be able to hold up the play aerially as well as ball to feet. I just don't know if Stur has that physicality to be able to do that just yet. But I think it's a nice idea. Big up to my man Raymond. Yes, Dedic is a done deal for sure, absolutely. But good to see. We're trying to figure out when Nico Gonzalez and Bergval could fit, if we could get them, or one of them anyway. Yeah, so James thinks it's a waste of time. James says, I think it's a waste of time in terms of Bergvall becoming a 10. I know that he doesn't have any injuries, but I'm worried at how the actual pitcher treated his body. There are concerns there for me, but far I don't think it would. Okay, fair enough. Possible to train him as a 10. Taps isn't here, left centre back. Left centre back? Is he left centre back? I thought I had him as right centre back. If he's left centre back, it makes sense. But I have him as right centre back. I don't think he's Ghanaian. I think he's either Mozambique or somewhere. Philip, so green is Newcastle. It's amazing. It's amazing. Brilliant. Best place in the world. James says, Horny, Hall, Char, Botman. Okay, that's a start like Miley, 10, Torre. Cool. Nice. Thanks for that, James. And this is so you need to be physical. 100%. It's the really, really busy part of the pitch. Super busy. You can imagine the defenders don't want you to be there. And you need to make super fast decisions while you're being pressed. And hurry. If you lose the ball, your team could be in very, very serious danger of conceding on the counter attack. So nobody really wants that. I'm gonna try and it's a difficult one. I was gonna say I'm gonna try and put together a team that I think will play against Liverpool. And then we'll see where, for instance, Gonzalez would fit into it. And then well, I don't know actually. Do I want to do that, or do I want to try and we'll go on from there. We'll go on from there. We're not necessarily going to be like stick on it solely. We're gonna kind of go on from there. Okay, so I don't think Charlton's going to be playing. He had a decent game though. It's going to be Hall. We've got Dedic as well. Actually, I think Dedic plays straight away. Guys, he had his pre-season. He's been fit. I think he's fit and ready to go. And him and Jansel know each other. Him and Jansel, when Jansel gives him the instructions of what he wants him to do, I think it'd be pretty clear. But what a game to start though for Dedic. Home game against Liverpool. The whole thing with Kevin Keegan. It's going to be emotional, but also Isak and the fact that it's Liverpool is just going to be unreal. The atmosphere is going to be unreal. So I want to say this, and I'm going to kind of tie this in with my kind of overall assessment of the team's preparation as well. When in the second game against Strasbourg, it was Byrne and Shaw in the back. And because of where I was sitting, I was looking directly at them. Where I was sitting in the previous game, I don't know if what I'm about to say happened or not, because where I was sitting, I couldn't see what Botman and Chow was doing. But in the Botman and Chow game against Leverkusen, we lost our shape a bit, especially in the second half. Whereas with Byrne and Shaw and the way they communicated, the way they worked, we didn't lose our shape. We kept it throughout the 90 minutes. And in fact, what you found is, and I'm going to have to explain this to explain what I'm going to be talking about. What you found is Bamba may only dropped him maybe once, twice during the game. Otherwise, Bamba would stay up front with either Ramsey or Willock collecting, and with what that would happen. Willock was able to join Usola with Murphy and Tory on the right, so it kind of went in a 2-2-2 quite a bit, and it allowed Newcastle to be dangerous throughout. Shaw was very much responsible for. So the fullbacks would also obviously go up like this as well. So Shaw was responsible for hitting these type of diagonals, which caused a lot of problems. Like he's really, really, especially when you see it live, Shaw's really, really good at hitting these diagonals and setting the play. Bamba, like I said, hardly ever had to drop in to do that. And what that meant was that we had an extra man in midfield. Whereas against Leverkusen, because it felt like because Bamba always had to drop in with this fullback splitting, which is part of what we're going to do. Leverkusen clocked that game quite well, and they would overflood the midfield, and they had like a roaming. It was 20. His numbers was 24. I forgot his name. Something Garcia, I want to say, and he knew how to overload different flanks really well, and that's what caused our shape to collapse. I would have been really, really interested to see how Leverkusen would have done against the second team with Shaw and Byrne in the back. So because, like I said, because of Shaw's ability on the ball, Bamba hardly ever had to drop in. I also suspect that because Byrne and Shaw are really, really good communicators and they're really, really senior players, you can tell by the body language of the team, it just seems really calm at the back, super, super calm at the back, especially with Byrne and Shaw there. That shape was kept really, really well. And because that centre back midfield shape was kept really, really well, the it kind of also it reflected on what the forward line was doing as well. So they was able to press, and when they did press, when they did go forward, we was able to keep our lines and our distances really, really well at the same time. We never seemed to be out of shape. We never seemed to be out of shape whatsoever. So I say all that to say this. And now that, especially also because Byrne is captain, there's a good chance that Sven Botman doesn't start. And this might go into other conversations about, do Newcastle play three at the back going forward? Would that be a better alternative rather than having a six having to drop in all the time? It gives you the flexibility of, don't get me wrong, I still think it's good to have that flexibility, but it's just some food for thought also kind of going forward. Okay, so I got Haaland as left back, Dedic as right back. The interesting thing, another thing is that Byrne has only played 45 minutes. He looked good though, but he only played 45 minutes. I think he still plays above Botman, even though Botman played more games. I say that, but I'm taking a chance here. I'll say this. I think the better pairing from what I saw over the last 2 days, but also watching every single game so far, even though Botman has played more minutes um, than Byrne, if Byrne is fit enough to give 60, 70 minutes, I think he should start. I'm just looking for Chow. Where's Chow? I need to put him in defense. Where is Chow? Wissa, Langa, Miley, Baltimore, Shaw, Botman. Where's Chow? Where's Chow? Neve, Sanusi, Salia, Jackson, Joe Linton. Okay, I'm gonna have to create Chow. And then I'll go to the chat. But let me know what you guys think about all of that. I don't mind the 6 dropping in. I just seen some of the flaws. What do you guys think of the backline so far? I've just seen I've just seen what opposition teams can do, and I've seen like what I think is probably our best. Thanks, Raymond. I'm really well. How are you, sir? God bless you. Lioness has seen a lot of Nkunku links. So have I. I think I'm hoping his agent talk. His injury record is absolutely horrendous. I wouldn't want to chance it on him. Raymond says hi to Philip. How are you? Nico González should sign for Newcastle right now. Absolutely, and that's what we're discussing. That's absolutely what we're discussing. I would love Mr. Nico to join us. Okay, so midfield. I think Ramsey stays. He had a decent game. Obviously, he had a little bit of a mistake trying to play the ball out of that penalty box, but you want to get rid of those mistakes before you play actual games. So Ramsey stays. The only question is who joins Ramsey in the double pivot. Joe Linton is injured, so he can't do that. But if there's a good case for Miley to start, but again, I'm not sure if Miley is fit. He started off a little bit rusty, in my opinion, before he grew into the game. Bomba had a good game, but this would be a crazy game to start him off with. Even though he's the natural 6 to put him in there. It's between Miley and Bamba and Stur. Can't forget Stur. I keep forgetting Stur for some reason. I just don't think off the ball, Stur is the best person to do this. Is Miley fit enough? I'll put Miley and Ramsey. Hopefully Miley gets it together. I think Ilanga's likely to start over Murphy. Lots of rumors about Murphy and whether he stays or not. He had a good preseason game. I think he got the assist for a solo as well. He would be a miss. Great servant to the club, fabulous servant to the club, really. So let's see, Gonzalez, Bamba, Shah. Here's Elanga. I think Elanga probably starts. I think Barnes probably starts over Torre as well. Torre's been okay. Showed good flashes. You know how he is. Good quality on the ball in the box. Good pace as well. He's going to have to learn how to be a bit more dangerous in the Premier League. He's going to have to grow a little bit physically as well. Where is he? Where's Barnes? I just put him there. Here's Barnes. So I think Barnes probably starts and Wissa and Usoda start. I thought Usoda was really, really good, especially in the closing down. I think he will lead off that. I think Wissa probably starts in the 10 for us. So I think we're likely to see something like this. Hornacek in the goal, Hall and Dedic as fullbacks, Burn and Shaw as centre-backs, Miley, Ramsey as your pivots, Wissa as the 10-ish, Barnes, Elanga as the wide forwards with Usola leading the line. And that's when he does the 4-2-3-1, right? That's when he does the 4-2-3-1. There's going to be flexibility. We're going to talk about the 3-4-3. You're going to talk about the 3-5-2 as well. What it would look like with Gonzalez, what it would look like with Bergval. But let me just see what you guys say in the chat. So has been a deadline may needs to be done before Friday. I understand for Nico. Has there been a deadline? Really? That's interesting. Robert says, I think Lewis will start in the pivot. That would be good. That would be good. I felt it was a bit rusty. We went a goal down quite quick, and it was on his side. He grew into the game, though. Lionel says, I wish Tory would start and Barnes comes up as a super sub. That's probably for the future. I just don't think Tory's ready, though he's shown some really good flashes. Barnes was decent. Okay, so what they want to be able to do and what they did better with Burn and Shaw at the back, I don't know why this keeps on going up like that, is when we did press, especially with Osola, who did a really, really good job in pressing. His pressing really, really means a lot to the team, quite honestly. Is when we press like this with the fullbacks have the choice of closing down the opposition here. Make the opposition. Let me make the opposition. Make it Liverpool. Obviously, we're playing Liverpool, so it makes sense to make it Liverpool. Simicast. They got a guy called Ramsey too. That's mad. Chiesa, McAllister, Chambers. Obviously, they're gonna have Isak playing, and O'Connell. Okay, so where's Chiesa? He would have been. Their team was mix up. Their team was mix up. I'm gonna take this off. They're confusing me. Their lineup is confusing me. Let me do it the way I want to do it. Nah, the lineup's confusing me. Sorry. I just wanted to show something. I'll do the pre-game stuff a little bit later. I swear I just took off some of our players. Okay, so Elanga, Barnes, Osola, Wissa, Hall, Dedic. I took off Dedic. Where is he? Let me see something. Okay, so they made Dedic red for some reason. These guys are crazy. Gosh, this thing can be complicated. Add a home player. I said home player. Come on. Okay, I'll have to say away player. Okay, so you'll have the fullbacks pressing. So Osola, Barnes, Elanga, Hall, with Ramsey, Wissa. And what they did a lot better is protect that back line. So there's Burn. Where did all these... They made them red. Jeez, man. This thing's so weird. That is so annoying. It made these guys red as well. Sorry, guys. Let me just fix this. Oh, that's so annoying. Let me just fix this. Add an away player, Dedic. Add another player, Malik Chow. Malik Chow. Okay, so right back, right, left, Hall, Miley, Ramsey, Wissa, Barnes, Ilanga, Osola. Why do I feel like somebody's missing? Goalkeeper. Stop that, stop that, stop that. Cancel. Away. What's her name? Horny check. Okay, so we'll put him in the back here. So here we go. Hall, Ramsey, Miley, Wissa, 7. Okay, so press is really good from Osola as well. Good to see my Beto Games. Good to see you, sir. God bless you. Goes large up Toon and the chat. This recent Nico G news has me really wondering how aggressively City would be to close the transfer window. Do you think Beto, if Beto's still here, that the fact that I think City leaked this to Ornstein. With the hopes of starting an auction and to drive up the price, which is the right thing to do. So from your perspective, you think Enzo could be coming along? Do you know if there's anybody else interested in Nico? I imagine there would be. James said there's going to be the suggestions that Aston Villa will be sending Ollie Watkins to Al Hilal. They want to sign William Masolo. There's a possible way that this signing can happen, suggested the offer is looking at. They're trying to sign a Sola? Really? There's a lot of things going on. Could be 50 million they're offering for a Sola. This is going to be a wild window. Lioness, the Nico, here we go, is going to smack. I agree. Okay, so the press is really good. Ilanga, Wissa, really, really helped to that as well. What needs to happen? Obviously, the fullbacks also. Dedic is going to be very pressing high up front as well. So what's going to happen is this back 3 or back 2, depending on how we do things, it needs to be protected really, really well. Now, I don't really like the idea of Burn on the left, right? Covering these kind of spaces here. I'll prefer Miley like this if he's the one that's playing and covering these spaces here. But we'll see. What I suspect might happen is, yeah, it depends really. Maybe Miley patrols this type of area. Anyway, I wanted to show this in the space itself here. And how we are kind of in the press when we're looking really, really good in terms of how we're pressing and how we're able to kind of to try and stop any kind of quick counter attacks in the first place. Where if we have, did they take Nico González as well? Yeah, they made him. Jeez, this thing is just crazy. So let me add Nico González to kind of show what I'm looking at. Let's add Bergval. Bergval. Talk about Tapsoba a little bit later as well. Let's talk about Tapsoba a little bit later. Okay, so Nico is here. All right, so what's going to be interesting is we've got Bergval here as well. Okay, so Burn, Malik, Miley, Ramsey, Hall, Dedic, Wissa, Sola, Barnes, Ilanga. Now, if you got Nico González, right, it's either with a Ramsey or with Miley. I would really want Miley to be hanging around, but we will see. It gives us options, right? I'll put him alongside Ramsey for now, though I really want Miley to stay. Yeah, I want Miley to stay, but what Bergvall will let us do when we're kind of doing these, not Bergvall, excuse me, what Nico does really, really well is his ability to cover the wide spaces. So Burn can play centrally, and Gonzalez can be here. We know Malik has got the pace to kind of deal with things out wide. So Gonzalez has the physicality, 6'2", absolute beast, to cover these type of areas and to play it out, as well as when we're playing it from outside, from our phase of play. What you have with Gonzalez is obviously the centre back splitting. He's really good at carrying the ball out himself, with Ramsey and Elanga going a little bit higher. Dedic as well, forcing the guys to back up as well. He's got the ability to either send it long, as well as get past the man and drive with it himself and join the next phase of play by himself, allowing the likes of Ramsey and others to join the play. So he's really good at that. I think also, if we were to add Bergval, as you guys can see at the moment, we've got Wissa and Osola as our striking duos. I'm going to keep Osola up front for now, and I'm going to put Bergval, if Bergval were to play number 10. I don't think he will want to play number 10 straight away. I think he'll start as a number 8 or an advanced 8 or hybrid 8. But what Bergval has the ability to do, and after I show this, I'm going to go to the chats. What Bergvall has the ability to do is, where's Ramsey? Ramsey in the pivot with Gonzalez, and with Burn here, Hall, Barnes is. So when we're pressing, Bergvall has incredible ball carrying ability. All of our midfielders were in this situation with Bergvall, Ramsey, and with Nico Gonzalez. So you've got fullbacks pushing high, adding this type of situation here. But you've also got a really, really good runner with the ball in Bergvall. It allows various types of dangers here where you want to cause this type of damage to the team, to the opposition team, in terms of what do you call it? In terms of overloading their flanks, either on the left and or on the right. And if you've got folks that can carry the ball like this well, you don't necessarily have to pass the ball. You can have someone that can keep control over the ball in terms of getting to the second phase of play. Ramsey can also afford to join in with, Ramsey or Nico can afford to join in, or at least cover these type of back spaces as well. I think Bergvall can do it. The problem is that he's never kind of functioned as a 10. So he's not known to be a creator, especially with the passing, because sometimes it's not always about you drive on the ball yourself. Sometimes it will be about you. It will be about you releasing the ball. Stop, behave yourself. Releasing the ball yourself as well. So I think there's some interesting parts to that. The other part I want to talk about before we close off is the prospect of having another centre back in Tapsoba and having them at 3 at the back instead of 4. Sola, Elanga, Dedic, Barnes, Gonzalez here, Chow, Burn, Dedic, Ramsey, Barnes, Bergval, Elanga. Here we go. Okay, so let me introduce Mr. Tapsoba. Now, I've got him someone that can play on the right hand side, even though he's left-footed. So when you got three at the back, three big CBs at the back instead of one, Janssel's going to have a choice to make. Is he going to take off one of the fullbacks, i.e., Hall or Dedic, or is he going to take off one, replace him with one of the centre midfielders? I think he takes off one of the fullbacks, probably a right-sided one. So let's put Dedic here for a minute, away for a minute. What you have then is, or what you could have, this could be one way of doing it. Burn in the middle, Malik and Tapsoba on either side of him. So you've got two pacey centre backs who can cover for the CB himself, for the main centre back himself, excuse me, with that kind of situation. But otherwise, when we're playing now, you've got it like this initially with a 4-2-3-1 kind of shape. But really, especially when we're kind of pressing, we're going forward, what it turns into is a Hall going up really, really high with the likes of Barnes and joining in the play like that with Malik, Chow, Tapsoba, and your Ramses and Bergvals pushing up like this, with Gonzalez protecting and screening the back line. So a lot of spaces to cover, like on these areas here, in these kind of areas here. But when you've got the ability of Tapsoba to protect the back flanks or Malik Chow, is doable. Also, even with the likes of Gonzalez, who's able to go on these sides as well and patrol these sides as well, you can still be covered quite well, especially on the turnovers. And that's what Tapsoba would add to you. You can have a lot of height, a lot of physicality here, but what it allows for is literally about 6 players instead of just 5 going up front and pressing, or else playing through in tacks, kind of networking together on the position line and putting that stress upon them, either breaking low blocks as well or preventing them from going up front. And even if the opposition decide to go along, because you've got Malik 6'3", 6'4", Burns 6'6", Tapsoba 6'2", 6'3", Gonzalez 6'2" frames, you've got a really big physical presence here in the back of a defensive line that can protect aerially, but also has the pace and physicality to protect the back lines as well in these type of areas, whilst also still being having some abilities, still keeping, I guess, your foot on the neck of the position by being able to attack and have attackers going up the other way. So it's an interesting one. It gives a lot of fluidity, a lot of flexibility. If Newcastle were to get another centre back of the same profile of Tapsoba, but it also shows Jaissle, for him, formation isn't a big thing. Whether it's a 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, 3-5-2, 3-4-3, he's looking to be dangerous in and out of possession. He's looking to be dangerous in possession, but also to be able to cover defensively out of possession as well. I think he conceded very few goals when he was out on side in Austria as well. So there's still some very, I think the likes of Gonzalez, Tapsoba, Bergval, but especially Gonzalez, Tapsoba will be very, very interesting indeed. I'm not going to have time to look through review Newcastle's season today just yet, but I'll do it on Thursday. That probably makes a lot of sense because we're going to preview the Liverpool game. But let me know what you guys think of all of this before we wrap up. Lioness is 50 million for Osola. Take it, no hesitation. Only if we've got someone lined up, because we can't just have Wissa there. And it depends who that forward is. I still think, I know against the doctor's orders, I still think Delap will be a good addition. but I guess any target man would be really good. How serious is that story for Osola? Let me know, guys. I'd be really interested to hear. Good to see my man Wilbur here. God bless you, sir. Goes fair. You feel late, better than ever. I guess. Hope I didn't miss a lot. It's all good. The main thing is that you're here, sir. The main thing is that you are here. Wilbur says, nice is a perfect sign. Oh, Nico, I think is a perfect signing for you guys. Obviously, assuming it makes financial sense, but City are committing suicide even if they get Enzo and Boadidi. Kovacic is 32. Don't tell them that, Overjog. Let's just get this deal done first if we can. War crimes have been said, says James. But I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited. Let's see where we go. Early stages on Nico. Very much it's all rumors on Tapsoba. Only one German outlet has reported it in regards to a deal being made. So, nothing, nobody else has said anything else. And no one at Newcastle, but really interesting. I think that if Newcastle do get Nico and remain in pursuit of Bergval, if that deal is supposed to be done on the 20th, I just don't see Bergval joining to just be a number 8. I think he'll be a number 8, a hybrid 8 that they're looking to put more in the attacking area of the pitch. And he might not necessarily be called a number 10 straight away, but I think that is how he'll be operating, in my opinion, just because we've got a load of 8s and 6s already kind of coming into our midfield area. If obviously we get Gonzalez as well. So we'll see. James says on the lap idea. What just says if you can sell Osola and pay whatever extra to get Nicholas Jackson, that'll be a really good one. For 60, 70 million, I wish I can ship my Swedish deep freezer and do that, but our Italian SB Ford is still. I'm surprised that Villa would go for Osola rather than Jackson. I'll be very, very surprised if that's what they do. I'll be very, very surprised unless Jackson's got a better offer elsewhere. But guys, we talked about the Nico González, obviously news from Ornstein. Obviously Ornstein's kind of reported that generally things are in early stages, though I suspect, this is just me, Philip suspects, knowing what I think I know about Ornstein, is that it could be a little bit further along the lines than what's been reported, because that's just how he likes to do things. Now, that doesn't mean that Newcastle are getting Nico González by any means of stretch of the imagination. But like I said, I think the deal is could be a little bit further down the line where it is. Hence why obviously City, as they should, as a selling club, are trying to get the price to go up by getting more clubs involved. So we'll see how that goes. We talked about the Bergval situation as well. All eyes are on the 20th of August when this 45-day thing should end, which means that it can't no longer be seen as a swap transaction. So therefore, Newcastle and Tottenham would still get their SCR situation sorted out, and that's what that's what the rumored Bergval deal is supposed to be. So we'll see if that's the case. Could it be, folks, that Newcastle could be looking to add two more midfielders to the ranks? That would be the mess. That would be absolutely incredible if that were the case. And if it were the case, as we looked on the tactics board, it could be that the likes of Bergval, though comes in as an 8, in my opinion, would be looked at as possibly being converted to a number 10. So we'll see how that goes. We've obviously also discussed the potential of Tapsoba coming in and Newcastle playing with 3 at the back with a one Roman or probably inverted or Roman fullback. The likes, either Dedic or Hall can do those type of things as well. Having 4-5-6 attackers whilst also protecting the defensive part. I think would be very, very incredible. But lots to look forward to. Obviously, you guys let us know about some rumors about Osola possibly being shipped out. We'll see. I'll be amazed if that happens, to be honest. But we will see. But as always, folks, it's been absolutely amazing liking, sharing, subscribing on the chats as well. We're going to have our first game preview of the season coming up on Thursday. We'll be looking at Liverpool. There'll be lots to discuss then. We'll also be reviewing the team as well. But as always, folks, you've been amazing. Look after each other. And God bless you all.
Brilliant from Cher. And now Murphy could take on the shot. Fabian Cher.